Welcome, everybody. Monday night here in the United States, where I am located, Florida. Getting ready for some hurricane action up here. Tonight, we got a great show. Got our good friend Reaper back. He's going to come in. We're going to talk about some market conditions, maybe some trading, and just BS a little bit. We had a great conversation last time he was on the show. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring my good friend Mr. Reaper back in. Hey, buddy, what's up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you excellent. What's going on, man?
So we welcome. How's everything, man?
Going well. I've been up all night, so
Up all night trading, I assume.
yep. It lit
Awesome.
up last night. Uh, it lit up pretty good last night. I was running. I'm actually still in a short on Solana, and then I'm also in a couple of other shorts on Forex. So
Nice.
we had a
Nice.
lot of news this weekend, so it was a pretty interesting Sunday night.
Yeah, the market's definitely a little volatile like it always is, but I honestly have not even looked at the market this whole week. So for me to do a show about the market's kind of funny because I literally will probably pull up a chart while we're talking and kind of like take some analytics and just like kind of see where we're at. But I mean, I do pay attention to the news and the rates and all that fun stuff. And the BRICS meeting just happened, so we can talk a little bit about that. But I just want to say welcome to everybody at the show. I see you guys in the chat. I see Brad. What's up, Brad? Carlos, what's up, man? I see Ryan there. Mental's here. Appreciate you guys always being here, hanging out with us. And if you're looking for the bald guy with the sunglasses, he's on vacation. He's visiting his family in France, so he's going to be away for a little bit. And so you guys are going to have myself, and we're going to have Epiphany hosting some shows for the next couple weeks. So stay tuned. Speaking of Epiphany, she just popped up and said hello in the chat. The queen of the coders, everybody.
Oh, the leader of the coven is here.
Reaper always has nice things to say. I think you two were married the way you guys talk in the Discord.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, you guys love each other though. You know it. You know it's true. But
It is.
yeah, so yeah, pretty much pure Degen talk tonight. And so we're gonna like talk about markets. I don't really have like Vince when he does these shows, he has like a rider put together, like talking points and everything, and he's got everything. I don't do any of that. I just pretty much go with it. Even for my deep dive series, I kind of have an idea what I want to ask the people I'm interviewing, but at the same time, I just kind of go with it. Just let it go. Let it flow. That's the best way about life. Being a person who's played music my whole life, we improvised, and that's the best time music on stage. Just let it flow, just feel it, see where it goes. So you said you're short in Solana right now. Where do you see where Solana going in the next, few weeks, maybe even short term, and like it's just by the end of the week?
Actually, well, I had planned on being out of it in the middle of the night last night. There were some things that happened in China that through normally Asian session, the first Asian session of the week is very, um, not very climactic, and some things happened, and China made some comments that basically threw their markets into a little bit of a frenzy. So that's where I saw things going short. Realistically, I'm probably going to be closing these trades out probably tonight. Um, but the China comments really have a lot of people concerned right now. Did you see what they said?
Sorry, I muted my mic because my dog was barking. I didn't see what they said, but I actually opened up the Bitcoin chart. I look at it on the weekly, and just that quick glance, I can tell that we're already going down and probably will continue down on the overall market here, based off of just my basic indicators. Just at a quick glance doesn't mean it's true. Never take anybody else's advice. And of course, here at the Coders, we're not, technical analytics. We're just some guys who build projects and are in NFTs and love crypto. And Reaper, though, on the other hand, you could take his advice.
Yeah. um, and I agree with you. I mean, I think we're going down. Um, that doesn't mean we can't have a pump up. However, back to what China said. Basically, the Chinese government came out, and every government wants their constituents, their investors, their big banks to come in and buy assets. So they want that conviction, and but they generally don't, they toe a line. So they're not going to go across that line. In my opinion, they went well beyond that line. A lot of their government officials went to the banks over the weekend and basically said, we don't want you to, wink, wink, sell any assets. We only want you to be buyers. So it created this vacuum of there's too much coming in and not enough going out. You have to have a free market and a free flow. And by their government stepping in and saying that, it created a lot of red flags for a lot of people. So that's where we saw the turbulence coming from last night. That was one of the areas that we saw coming in heavy last night. A lot of Asian countries, a lot of European countries were extremely concerned over what their government did, and more just so what they said. And that opened us up for shorts. And you could see them stockpiling in last night. Everything, it was a typical Sunday dump, but it was really getting coiled up, and really people are on the edge of their seats right now as far as what's going to happen. And with BRICS occurring, we don't know everything that's came out. There's a lot of speculation right now as to what was said. They haven't released full documentation yet, so, and even if they do, who knows if it's actually true.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't think we'll know exactly what's happening. We do know that they like big. When I say big countries, not in size, I'm talking about economic, and the impact they would have to the U.S. dollar and whatnot. Saudi Arabia wants to join BRICS, which is a big deal. There's a lot of money there, so that's a big concern for the U.S. dollar, in my opinion. What do you feel about that?
oh, absolutely. I mean, you have Saudi, Iraq. I can't remember. I think there was like five or six considerable ones. Um, I think it was Saudi, Iraq, uh, UAE. I think was one of them, and I can't remember the other couple that were important. It's going to be a concern. The bigger concern with all of that is you have all of these. What are they going to peg everything off of? Right now, everything is pegged off of oil and the US dollar. And if they go in and start creating different vacuums or different mechanisms to peg things off of, it goes back into what we were talking about with Japan and other countries basically saying, okay, we're going to come in and we're going to sell debt. We're going to sell US debt. Um,
Yeah, I mentioned that last time we were talking about the Japan debt, and a lot of people don't realize how much of the U.S. debt that Japan actually owns.
I think it's 1.4, no, 1.6 trillion or something like that. It's a significant amount. They own the most out of any other country.
Yeah.
So that's the concern that you have with your Asian side, and really what's going on with BRICS. It's all sort of funneling together. And there's a bigger concern that not a lot of people are talking about. And I don't know if you saw anything on this. There's been very few people report on this because people don't want this information at the forefront of trading, investment, news, and everything. Do you know what the yield? Basically, you have your yield curve, and there is actually an S&P, basically a stock market yield earnings curve. And what that is it's basically like an EPS. It's what is the expected yield of the stock market over a yearly time. There's been about 10 or 11 instances within 100 years where this event has occurred. And the event I'm talking about is where cash is more valuable than the expected earnings of the market. and specifically geared towards a 3 month. Well, it used to be a 1 month, but they switched it back and forth. But basically, your short term T bill is what it's geared off of. And if you look at the correlation, this has happened 10 times. I think, well, under 12 times. I think it was 10 or 11 within the past 100 years. When that happens, and there is a correlated spike in CPI or in counter inflationary measures, because they used to be called different things, that has led every single time to a 20 to 50% or 60% correction in the entire market.
Yeah, I think cash is always most valuable short term. And when you look at asset, stocks to me was always a better long term hold. Like if you hold a stock for 5 years, you're looking at like a 60% gain if it's a good stock. You did your research. Whereas you hold for 20 years, you're all in the money, depending on the stocks, of course. I mean, stocks can go to shit, but I'm talking about, good investments. But cash is always king short term, and traditional stocks have always been king long term, at least in my knowledge and my scope of trading, and just like what's king for how long, and that, like you were saying, that short month period, 1 to 3 months, cash always seems to be the better play in the short term because it's just always going to be king. But like Carlos is saying here in the chat about bricks, like what happens to the markets if bricks does go into effect to a point that it really tramples the US dollar.
You're going to see that 20 to 50% correction in the market.
Yeah. I mean, it could be good news for some of us. It could be bad news for some of us. Because again, that cash will be king to the point that, yeah, it's going to lose value, but you can also get into a lot more investments because if the whole market goes down, including crypto, you might be getting some nice Christmas presents, so to say, with discounts. But I mean, it's hard to tell how the crypto market's going to respond because the crypto market's kind of got like, the crypto market it pivots around Bitcoin halving. And if you're not too familiar with the crypto cycles, usually when the Bitcoin halving happens, what happens with Bitcoin, if you're not too familiar, is when the halving happens, miners make less. They make it literally halves. So I think the rate right now is what is it? It's not 6.125. I think it's like in the threes right now. I can't remember what the actual rate for Bitcoin is for the mining a block. But necessarily what happens is their income comes down, but they're still paying the same amount of money to mine that exact, the same amount of time. So they're spending the same amount of money to mine, and they're spending their resources, but they're making less money every halving. So what happens when that happens? You see the supply get more valuable because now it's the same work, the same money to make the work, but they're getting less product back. And every halving, when this happens, you always see that spike in the market, and you always see the value go up because Bitcoin becomes more valuable because they're getting less of a resource back, and they're still putting the same amount of work in as a miner. You're paying the X amount of electric, X amount of resources to mine that little bit of coin. And it happens every 4 years or so. And we're getting ready to go into the next halving in 2024. And it's usually what is the catalyst to most of the bull runs in the crypto market. So it's hard to say if bricks will actually affect a Bitcoin halving. Like we don't know because we've never been here before. Just like we've never been in a bear market in NFTs until now. You know what I mean? So we're experiencing it for the first time. Whereas this transition with bricks is going to be something that we've never seen before. So how do we know what to expect? Do you think Bitcoin halving is going to still rule? And crypto's still going to do its things. What are your thoughts about that, Reaper?
I think it is. I think because what you're talking about is supply shock, and people don't understand this. If you go from, and I can't remember where it started at with the Bitcoin halving, but if you go from 40 to 20 to 20 to 10 to 10 to 5, the supply shock increases as you go down. So going from 40 to 20 when you're talking about supply and demand isn't as significant as going from 20 to 10. I still think that the halving is going to basically start or confirm the next bull market. But I think between now and then there could be a lot of fucking pain to the downside. And that's where I go back to. If you look at that from, the treasury, the short-term T-bills versus the expected yield of the stock market, when it goes below zero, it's only happened 9, 10, 11 times. What have we seen? Every time there's been a 20 to 50% correction, twice there was an increase initially over the first 3 months, but both of those two times led to the largest recession long term in 1980 and in 2000, or well, 99, 2000, that the market's ever seen. So the only two times it pumped over its past local high in the US stock market, yes, it did go above it by a little bit, but that still triggered those two triggers were the largest recessions in US economy for 125 years.
Yeah, could you imagine like being able to mine Bitcoin back when it came out and getting like 25 Bitcoin per block?
Oh my
And
God.
with the value of it now, and yeah, it would have been crazy to people, but like, why does it sound like you have airplanes in your garage? Because you got the miners running. And I
Yeah.
mined ETH for a long time, but mining ETH and mining Bitcoin are totally different things. Like, mining ETH, you use graphics cards, whereas Bitcoin, you have to use like an ASIC miner. There's like no way to really do it with a graphics card. In my setup, I had, God, I think I had 4 rigs. Each one had 16 graphic cards in them, and they ran around the clock. I had air conditioning unit down in the basement with them. I had so many fans on them, and those things just ran nonstop. And I'd monitor them from my laptop and be able to change the temperatures and the speeds and everything. But I just can't imagine like making 25 Bitcoin per block like back in 2009 or 2010 when they started mining Bitcoin. Like, can you imagine those early Bitcoin miners, like how much money they probably made if they kept it and didn't sell it for like a pizza, like that guy that is so famous for buying 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin or whatever it was.
Oh my God.
At the time, he got a good deal. I mean, it was like
Yeah.
nobody knew it was fake money.
Well, see, that's why now, like, I'm, a lot of people have DM me and asked what I'm getting into and stuff. I think Caspa, I don't know why, but I keep hearing about it. And my big boy guys, they got like the guy I was telling you about that has basically called ETH to the dollar for the last fucking 10 years. He's telling me, he's like, dude, you don't have enough. Like, you got to buy more. Like, I'm like, dude, I got like fucking 2 million Caspa or some shit. I don't know how much I fucking got. But I'm like, I mean, it's like 0.03 something now. But he's like, you got to buy more. You got to buy more. And I mean, everybody's just leading onto that bridge. And I sit there and think, well, it can't happen again. And I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to throw some cash at it because, I mean, what's the worst case scenario? It goes to nothing and it's what I would have made trading over a week. I mean, fuck it. I'm willing to take the risk.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't take risks, you can't really make money. I mean, sadly, but you can lose a lot of money taking those risks the same way. So you got to be careful, of course. That's why I always say, don't invest, don't gamble, don't throw your money at these degen behaviors unless you can not have the money. Because I mean, if you need the money, you shouldn't be doing it. It's just that simple. Because then there's no risk. If there's no risk, there's no worries. There's no worries. There's no stress. There's no stress. You won't die tomorrow. So
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it. You're gonna live your life good. But yeah, so I just want to backtrack a little bit into the conversation here. I see Carlos has asked some cool questions. I want to bring them up. Asking which markets should we focus on? I'll put it up on the screen. You can see that to predict the market movement. And then to follow up that, like which countries have a bigger impact on the price movement. So generally, like, is it China that you're watching? Is it Japan? Like, is it India? Like, what countries do you see when they start trading that the biggest movements happen in the markets? Like, what are you watching, for example, Reaper, every day?
I watch U.S. stock market every day because love us or hate us, crypto's going to follow us. And that's just the way it is. I would say I would split that question up a little bit. That's what market I look at. Now, I have an area that I call stupid comments or dumbass comments or what are the fucking idiots saying. That's where I watch my Asian markets and not really the markets, but I watch what is their leadership doing? What is their, what are they trying to stop from happening or what are they trying to push to happen? And that's where I watch Brazil, India, Russia, China, um, Japan. Now, Japan wasn't on my list a year ago,
Yeah.
but now I damn sure want to know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, I mean they could pull a trigger and really crush us if they wanted to. So I mean, in a sense, um, I mean, yeah, I'm with the Asian market. That like when I used to trade going into the weekends, I'd always sell a lot of my stuff, like a lot of my crypto, and I like in my hot wallets, like for example, Solana. If I had like 50 Solana sitting in my hot wallet, a lot of times going into the weekends, I'd sell the USD because I knew Monday morning when all the shorts would get liquidated, when I knew that was coming, I'd be able to buy back in. Or, I would always be flipping my soul around a lot, just watching the Asian market, knowing that when I wake up Monday morning in America on Eastern time, that most likely the market's going to move the bunch while I was sleeping. And it's a good entry point for me to get back into some positions and move some money around. I've done it with ETH a bunch, sell like 10 or 15 ETH when it's like 1500 and buy back in for 1200. Yeah, it's not big money. You're only talking about 10 ETH, but you do the math and you do that over and over and over again. You get yourself into a better position to have more ETH. So next time you could do it with 12 ETH. And then the next time you could take the free ETH that you got from the last one and add it in. And you're not, you're negating your risk isn't growing. Your reward is growing, but my risk isn't, because I'm taking profit from before with the original amount that I risked. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
used to do that a lot, and I used to watch the Asian market because, like I said, we'd go in Friday night and we'd just be like, all right, here comes everybody going to start throwing their money into the market, and then all the market makers Monday morning would be like,
Yep.
take all the
Hey, we
money.
did that. We did that shit last night. We were like, I had about 12 of us sitting in a group, and we were like, what the? My buddy messaged me at like fucking 6, 7 o'clock yesterday. He's like, dude, they're doing it early again. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then that's when we finally got the abbreviated news from fucking China where they're telling all their banks and big investors to only buy and basically hint, hint, you're not, we don't want you to sell. And that's more like, you better not fucking sell. And, you know, we're like, all right, well, we're gearing the fuck up, man. We load that shit up. That's why I was like, I took half of it off um, at like 2025 or something like that. But I mean, I think it's where I fucking took it off. I can't remember. I mean, I was up so fucking much, it was stupid.
Yep.
Because we had that 15-minute fractal. Um, and I literally got in damn near the top at like 2021, took part of it off at like 2022 or some shit like that. Then got back in and then got back out again. Now I got like half in. But I mean, I could lose all of it and I'm still up 3 or 4x from what I was looking at last night.
So while you're talking, I'm over here. You know me. I trade on the weekly, guys. I'm not a day trader like Reaper. I'm more of a long-term investor. So when I look at charts and I'm trying to figure out where the market's heading, I'm usually on a Bitcoin weekly chart, and I always look at a few indicators. And one thing that happened in this bear market that hasn't ever happened in any kind of Bitcoin cycles is we closed under the 200 moving day average on the weekly, and that's never happened.
Mm-hmm.
We've bounced off of it all the time. It's usually a good pivot where we get close to it that we're going to bounce. But we were under it for like, I don't even know how many weeks. I could backtrack on the charts and look at it, but I think we were under the moving 2 day or the moving 200 from, we went under it. It looks like, whew, this long. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I'm doing a quick count. At least 30 candles. So you figure almost more than half a year we were under the moving 200, which never happened in any of the previous cycles. So that's why it's a little hard to figure out where the cycle's going. And again, right now, last week, the candle closed under the 200 and we're under it now. The week's not over yet. So, but usually if you see two candles under that 200, it's a good indicator that we're going to go down. We're going to see a pullback. We're going to see some kind of correction because usually we bounce off the 200, and we did bounce off of it. I think looking at the charts here, we bounced off of it. Looks like the 19th of June. That week we bounced off of it, and that's when we had that little push up to 30,000. We bounced off the
Hmm.
200 real nicely, and then we kind of been sitting above it, and then just last week we closed under it again. So again, this is just some indicators I look at. I'm a long-term investor. I don't play day trades. I don't, I'm not making money in the minutes like Reaper does over here, where he pushes a couple buttons and he makes 5, 6 figures some days, and he loses it just the same. I mean, the same risk and rewards there. I'm looking more towards the next cycle and walking away in a 2 climate club just by making steady DCA investments over the next year, like I have been doing for the past year. But like I'm just looking at some analytics here while we're talking, and I'm seeing what and everything that Reaper's saying on the short term and everything he's seeing in his trading, along with what I'm seeing on the long term vision, just tells me that we are still in a very bearish market. And we still might see some damage done to people's pockets, and that sediment and the worry is still going to be there, where people are going to be fearing. So I don't think we're out of the woods yet, is what I'm getting at. How do you feel? Like, when do you think we might start seeing an upside to this market, where you might see that positive investor come back in?
I think number one, in my opinion, I think we're going to sweep lows again. So I'm looking for sub 12.
You think we'll go that low?
I, you know, everybody's calling 15.5, 16 level. I don't think we'll stay there if we go there. If the U.S. markets react like I think they're going to, I'm looking at one of two scenarios. Bitcoin is going to either pump to 30 to 35 level before it reacts to that level and goes lower. And if it does that, I would lay 1,000 to 1 odds we'll hit 12. And if not, and we still get that 20 to 50% retracement in the U.S. stock markets like I'm anticipating, based on, the previous 10 or 11 times it's happened, if we hit a 30% at least retracement in the U.S. stock market, which will put us around 360 to 370 level on the SPY, we'll hit 12. So it's just, I think it's a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, that means if Bitcoin goes down, you know what that means. Everything else will go down, and everything
Yep.
follows. Which is a great buying opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Last time we were down in like the 15s, is when I really stepped up my DCA, and I threw more money a week. Anything I could. I was like barely eating. It felt like, just so I could put as much money as I possibly could into my DCA strategy. Because you got to take advantage of those downtrends, especially if you're a long-term investor and you're looking big picture. You see people in NFTs. I saw someone tweet earlier, and someone called them out. One of the teammates, what Migos meant. Somebody's like, they've been away. They minted like a week ago and they haven't done anything yet. Like that's the NFT like mindset in a nutshell. Like literally a project mints and a week later they're already bitching. Like, when are you gonna do something? Like you people would never like make it in the real world when it comes to long-term investments, because that's not how it works. You invest some money this week, I don't expect returns for at least 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, depending on whatever I felt when I did my research in that project. And I look at NFTs the same way. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There are NFTs that I play like a day trade. I literally will mint them to flip them for a 2 or 3x, and I'm out. I'm exit. I don't even want to go into Discord. Don't even care to be in the Discord, because I have no intention of keeping this NFT. And I play NFTs like that for sure. But I mean, it's just funny to see these people where a project like Migos, for example, is going to be a long-term project. They're not going anywhere. The team's established, the team's built. They, with Blocksmith and everything they've done, they're not going anywhere. It's not a hype mint into the sense that you're going to be rich immediately. Like, that's a long-term value. And if you didn't see it like that, then I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you can't expect that it was going to like 5x immediately, like in a week. It's just not gonna happen. I could see people that thought it could 5. Even I did. I thought maybe it would see a nice little pump. But then you got to realize a lot of people got, that were holders, got free mints. So they're going to take they're going to take some returns on the value that they have in their long-term hold in Blocksmiths themselves. And so now I got a free mint. Well, it wasn't so much free. I think it was like 1,400 forge as a holder. I'm not sure what that equates to, like 4 SOL maybe. So maybe $80 they spent for the Amigos. And you figure they sold them 6 or 8 SOL, right off the rip when they were up there. They made a little bit of money. And if they were like me, I'm in it too. And I sold my 2 immediately because I knew the floor was coming down. I know NFTs. I know how the market works. As soon as they get listed, they were like 8 SOL. I took an offer for 8 SOL and I took an offer for 7.5 SOL. And then I bought one that I really liked that was a really nice rank for 10 SOL. So at the end of the day, I'm out like 7 SOL out of pocket, but I got a really nice rank, the one that I can relate with and fuck with, that I think's cool because I see the long-term vision. And I'm gonna probably sweep some when the floor comes down. It's like, around mint price right now, but I'm again a long-term investor. But it just made me laugh to see someone like say something like that, like they meant it like a week ago. They haven't done anything. Like that's just the mindset that's like so tarnished in this whole NFT space that we're in. And people like me that come from long-term investment, traditional stocks, and then went through crypto trading. And crypto trading is totally different than traditional stocks. It's a different beast because you could trade 24 hours a day. There's no there's no like, okay, it's 5 o'clock. Can't trade anymore unless I got some ins with some market makers and I can do some after hours or pre-hour trading. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like the NFT space is it's such a different beast. If you're a day trader, you can thrive in the NFT space for sure because it's just as risky and just as volatile, in my opinion.
Well, the fucked up thing is, and I'm not going to say who the person was because the person still is relevant. I don't think they're in the decoders community, but they are considered, I guess, I would say like a fucking influencer or whatever that fucking term is.
I call them
But
shitfluencers.
yeah, well, and they're a part of a
No,
couple of
there's some good
groups.
influencers out there, but they're not
Yeah.
really influencing. They're speaking their mind and they're being honest. They're not doing it to feed their pockets. There are some good ones out there.
Well, this one was like, and this one's in reputable communities. And like I said, that's why I don't like. I never shame anybody or anything like that unless they deserve it, and then I'll put them part of the coven or whatever. But I asked this person, and this is before I met you. I was like, "Hey, I'm getting into this." Somebody said, "You're a friend of a friend, whatever." And I was like, Where do you think this is a good entry point for this?" And this was like 18 months ago, and it was an NFT, and they were like, "Well, how quickly are you looking to get, out of it?" And before I could reply to them, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, like maybe if I buy 10, sell 5 in like a year, get my money back, hold the other 5, ride or die type shit. This motherfucker was talking about like the following Monday. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm confused here. You're talking like I'm talking investing, and you're talking we're sitting here on a Wednesday and you're talking about 5 days from now. I'm like, whoa, 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 I gotta go back to the fucking drawing board here. I don't comprehend this shit. So yeah, but I was like, I, I think that's where there really has to be a shift in um, market mentality in the NFT space, because you're not going to get Web 2 people in there, as far as like really people unloading a lot of capital to where somebody goes and looks at Migos and says, fuck, I want to be a part of this. I'm looking 3 to 5 years out. So there's 1,000 on the floor and I'm going to take all 1,000. That's the type of Web 2. That's the type of investing, long-term investing that I look at. It's like, okay, there's 300 Smiths on the floor. I'm going to take them all. Like, I don't fuck it. It's DCAing. I'm DCAing and taking everything that's available to me at that point. And you have a lot of people sitting on the sidelines that are really concerned, because I have friends that are looking to get into NFTs. I got a buddy that's 65 years old, very well known trader. And he is, well, I think he's actually closer to 70. And he's looking to get into NFTs for, you know, 10 years or so. He thinks there's a play in it. And I'm like, dude, you got to come in with a different mentality. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, 10 years, you got to cut that by like, divide by like 10. It's
Probably
more
about
like
like
one day.
200.
Yeah. I'm like, your mentality and our mentality doesn't like, and their mentality isn't like symbiotic yet. We're still trying to figure that part out. But
Yeah. Yeah. I think a week in real life is like 5 minutes in NFT time. So
oh, it's crazy.
yeah. And
Like,
I just want to bring up hear what Carlos said about Acid Dash. Yeah, I mean Acid Dash is a great example of what a project can do if they build first and then launch like an NFT project or something like that afterwards. Like Acid Dash didn't even have a Discord for the longest time. I don't think they launched their Discord till after they launched the NFTs. Um, so they did really well. And, Acid Dash has been one of our earliest partners here at Decoders. They believed in us just like we believed in them from the get go. And, it's great to see them do well and to see their market doing well and they're sustaining well over mint. I don't think they've ever gone on their mint. They've been well above it. I mean, I've been watching it lately. It's been fluctuating between like 6.5 SOL up until like 8 SOL, 9 SOL. Not sure what the floor price is today. I haven't really looked at the NFTs really at all this weekend. I've been busy on some other stuff. But yeah, Acid Dash did wonders, man. They like built a really cool project and a really good concept and they worked hard at it and then they launched an NFT to go with it. You know what I mean? Like there's some projects out there that have done well doing that. Soul Casino is another good example. They had their casino up and running for a few years before they launched their NFTs, which provided value for their holders immediately because of the fact that they had the casino running and they were already profitable when they launched their NFTs. So they were able to give back all the money from the mint to the holders and reward them, and then to make the value of the NFTs go up through other means. Not saying that long term they might do good, but short term after the mint they did great. And they're still doing good. They're still top 5 projects right now in Solana. I think the floor price is like in the 60s. So I mean, it's not bad. It was pretty much a free mint if you were a minter, because they gave you back your money and you just had to stake it for a little bit. But projects like that you do see do well, and I'm very proud that Acid Dash is still doing well. Even Ryan said, they're killing it. I'll just put his comment up here too because it's the truth. Definitely are killing it. We love our guys over at Acid Dash. If you're not sure what Acid Dash is, check it out. There's an affiliate link in the YouTube video for our project to get you into there. So definitely check them out.
yeah, that's a long-term project, in my opinion.
The
I mean,
Coders
it's
is a long-term project.
oh fuck yeah. That's that's the type. If you don't have that relationship between Web 2 and Web 3, you're not going to fucking make it. I don't give a fuck who you are. It's not going to happen. You can't keep recycling the same money through a filter and expect nothing to come out of it. That's why I'm looking at like the heist. I know we've gotten sort of on NFTs here, but like that's another one. I'm like, okay, is this going to be the .com bubble or their community is fucking crazy. And that's one thing you've taught me is in in Web3 NFT, if you don't have the community, it doesn't matter what the utility is. Once you have the community, you got to have the right utility though to be long term.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Web 2, it's completely fucking different.
Yeah, I mean, community to me is the biggest. I always say it's the biggest utility of a project, and a lot of people overlook it because, I mean, honestly, networking in the community will bring me more value than me reselling my NFT for a 3x. Because I can network and rub shoulders with people that could teach me something. I could earn value from educating myself in stuff that I would have to pay for to learn elsewhere. Because there are people in Web3 who have taught me stuff about design, thing about development, back end dev stuff, just basic Excel crap that I knew nothing about. All this stuff has value. And I've learned so much from just people within communities and just like, hey, I don't know how to do that. Well, let me show you. Oh, it's really that simple. And here I would have had to go take a course to learn how to do some of this stuff. So there's so much value in community and people don't really, they take it for granted in my opinion. They don't know who's in the community. Everybody wants to judge everybody. Well, I'm a whale and you're nobody. You have 2 NFTs. So what? I have 2 NFTs. Doesn't mean I don't know I don't know anything about money and I don't know how to invest. And I'm just like a moron because I only own 2 and you own 100. That doesn't make us any different. It's like walking on the
Nope.
street and judging me because I'm a different color than you. You know what I mean? Like that's a stupid way to look at life. And if you're like that and you're that close minded and small minded, then I mean, go live your life. You're not for me. You don't need to be in my life. But that
It's
community aspect, man,
it's
it's overlooked.
funny. It's funny because I was called out in a community about fucking 9 months ago because I mean I never had fucking I have like maybe I don't know 9 NFTs or 7 or something like that because you know me I've been waiting for the right shit because I'm patient and I have a specific vision that I'm looking for within an NFT and I don't have to get in at the bottom. When I get in, I'm going to get in and I'm going to control the amount that I want to control. But it was funny because somebody said, "Well, you only got like 7 or 8 NFTs," and I'm like, "Yeah, so what? What the fuck does that matter?" That's like a figure account versus a 7 figure account. Nobody knows who the better trader is. Like the 6 figure trader could be a hell of a lot better than a 7 figure because you go look at his watch collection or something like that, and it's a 9 figure watch collection. I mean, it happens all the fucking time. And but it brings me back to that is you never know who's going to be in the community and who can help or who can do this or who can do that. And I tell people all the time, I was sitting, we were finishing up training. I had started training about 10 people, 12 people, and I'd started about a year, or well, about a year and a half ago. Had some health issues, came back, and we were finishing up the last little bit that I wanted to show them. And they actually went and found how they found it. I don't know, but about 15 years ago, I was doing seminars, and they found what they thought was one of mine. I wasn't there, but it was one of the groups that I went with, and they were like, 15 years ago, you all were charging. It was like $7,500 to $10,000 a seat to learn from experienced traders. And I'm like, yeah, and I do that shit now basically for fucking free.
Yeah,
Like,
and if you're part of the coders community, you might get some chart analysis from Reaper and in the Reaper chat. He hasn't been as active, but there is some actually very valuable stuff that he's already posted in there.
well, and that sort of leads me to my next thing, which Vince isn't here, so he's probably going to fucking shoot me. But the little thing I was talking about is done.
Oh,
So,
as Vince would
um,
say, he would go, "Oh,"
yeah,
and then smile.
it's done. So, what I did was basically I created it's not, I don't want to call it an indicator. It's not really an indicator. It's more of a trigger point for people that want to get into short-term trading. And what it's designed around and developed around is actually it's a combination of algorithmic and volume trading, but it's what I consider imbalanced. And basically what that is when you have certain traditional technical indicators that throw imbalances. And when the majority of them throw this imbalance at the same time, you have an opportunity to scalp at a high level. Um, it's not something you want to go in 200x leverage at, but it's something that you can feasibly go in 50 to 70x leverage at, and it's going to hit at around an 80% clip, an 85% clip over a long period of time. Um, Generally, it happens anywhere from 1 to 4, maybe 5 times a day. So, that's what I was talking about last time. Um, I'm going to find a way to make this available only to uh, decoders members.
And it may be decoder members that have a certain amount of NFTs. So it might be wise that you're in certain clubs within the clubs. Decoders is a free mint, guys. You're earning views. Hopefully, we got a lot of people that are going to mint it with the views, and they're going to paper hand it on secondary immediately and make that 0.5 soul and run away like I'm rich. I waited 8 months for this, and I made 0.5 soul, and I don't understand what the point of this project is. But they're happy. and the person that buys it, like me or you, are going to be happy because we're like, hey, we got another Decoders NFT. And once I get 20 or 25 of these, I'm going to have, you know, little seminars with Mr. Reaper where he's in voice chat and he's actually got his computer screen. He's sharing, he's actually showing us some technical analytics and some, ways to trade and some like things that you would pay money for in the real life. Like I was saying, that community aspect, that value that community brings. Because here you'll be in the coders and you'll be getting some community value from someone like Reaper that you would never even known if you're just in a Discord had the kind of background he does and the knowledge he does and how much you could learn from him. Because if you were ignorant and you never got to know who he was, you know what I mean, you wouldn't have any idea who you're bumping shoulders with. You would just judge him because he has one NFT.
Yeah, that Jazz gave me. It's funny. It's like, dude, like literally,
I gave you your only NFT.
like you gave me like 15% of my NFTs that I own. It's hilarious
I've
because
given out a lot of NFTs in my days.
it's and that's the thing. I just wanted to mention that because I had alluded to it before, but it's something definitely, I'll let the team figure out how they want to handle that and how they want to do it. And then once they let me know, I think I got a way where I can backtrack it because nobody will. That's the thing. A lot of these indicators, it's hilarious. The new theme of the decade is smart money concepts. And everybody has the newest indicator that is a smart money concept indicator. Let me explain something. Smart money concept, what they're deriving as the smart money concept has been around for 80 years. They've just changed the name every 20 years and they make it more marketable. It's the same shit though. This is not really, there's a few out there that would lend itself to being close to this, but it has a lot of CD divergence and things like that that those do not, that I know. There's two out there that I know of that I would say are probably 60 to 70% close to what I have, but mine has a lot more going on in the background because it doesn't take as many trades as theirs does. So, and that's something, hell, we can make it free for certain decoders members, and then I can launch it on Web 2 and funnel that money back into decoders. I mean,
And you
fuck it,
never
I
know.
don't
You
care.
you could start doing seminars on YouTube and teaching how to trade, and then launch your own white labeled decoders app. And people that are decoder holders can make money as you make money, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's funny. One of my passive incomes is I sold um, basically a gold indicator, um, probably about 3 years ago, four
Just so you
years
guys
ago.
know, I didn't type that. That wasn't me. That must be Vince because I didn't type that.
um, I sold one maybe about 3 years ago. It was a gold indicator, and it was an auto trader, and that's where I get some of my passive income from. So, and I mean, people don't realize when you have a successful bot or indicator, what other people will pay for that. Um, I have no problem saying it. I was paid. The indicator itself brought five, right at 5 million. I get 30% residuals for 20 years, and I also get 50% residual on any new member they bring in over the first 12 months.
That sounds like
So
my retired songwriting career. Those
yeah,
residual plays, man. That's the way to
it's
live. If you can find those residual incomes, man, it never stop paying you. That's the way to live.
and I never really I trade gold, but like I trade gold in a different way. And a friend of mine was like, "Hey, look, I have some disabilities and things like that," and I just, he didn't know like he might not be able to trade for 6 months or whatever, and that's sort of what embarked me on that project. Was I was like, okay, I'm gonna find a way for you to trade to where if you're sick and you're in the fucking hospital for 6 months, that you're going to be able to trade with a high level and not have to fucking worry about it and not having to worry about income and shit. And so it took me probably about 4 years to build it. I was actually trading his money for him sometimes while he was in a hospital and shit. And took me about almost 4 years and built it. And that was part of the stipulation when I sold it. I'm like, look, you can do whatever you want, but this guy gets it for free the rest of his life because I built it for him. And then I gave him the money. So fuck it. I didn't care. So he
Okay.
was he was a good guy.
I'm
And
gonna post something here. Carlos said because I want to kind of touch base on he says absolutely it's better to learn, implement, get a good hold on it, and move forward and learn something new. That he literally goes through your Discord post, in your channel and tries to understand it until he's satisfied. And I'll tell you, I mean, if you don't know anything about trading, looking at those posts that he puts in could be a little intimidating because you have no idea what the references are about the terminology that he's using. So I feel like in the future, and you even said it, Carlos, maybe I'll share some knowledge too with my long-term investing strategies. But just the basic slang that's used in trading is something that you could teach so many people just to get them up the gear. Because I might look at one of your charts and you might be talking about a short position, and you might have some lingo that I have no idea what it means. And once I understand that
yeah,
lingo, I might have a better understanding of what the hell you're talking about. So
yeah,
eh, you know, yeah, so that's another thing that like that technical analysis of like how traders' minds work and the kind of lingo that we use when we talk about trading can go a long way too. So in the future of the coders, again, guys, after we mint, that's when the fun starts, guys. We've just been building, we've been experimenting, we've been building a foundation here. We kind of know what works now, and we kind of know the direction we need to head. And we have experimented with different applications and how things are going. So, Vince and myself and the rest of the team, we totally understand what we need to do and how to implement it and get it done. And then you guys are just as much part of this project as we are, and so the future is very bright for all of us. And like even with Reaper here, he could be doing seminars and teaching people how to trade, and you guys could go out and make 5-6 figures just because you were in the coders Discord. you know, you never know what could come of it. So,
it's
um,
not as hard as people fucking think.
well,
People
that's what I
think,
was. That's what I wanted to kind of touch base on there. Is that as soon as you understand some of the terminology, it makes it easier to understand what the hell you're talking about. So maybe that should be like the introduction that we need to start. Is maybe doing like intro to trading terminology and lingo and indicators, and then move into more advanced stuff eventually. But there's some people like me who look at your charts, and I have trading experience, and I'm still like, no idea what he says, what he means. No idea. I don't know what
it's
that is.
and here's the bad thing is I wrote it and rewrote it 3 times and was like, okay, they should understand this now. And then I sent it to one of my friends that is actually, well, a friend that I made that's actually, she's in uh, the core group that just finished up uh, training slash trading with me over the past couple of years. And she told me, she's like, dude, she's like, and she's a female version of me. So she's a smart ass. She's an asshole. She's par on point. And she's like, dude, if they have never done trading, they're not going to know what the fuck you just said. And I'm like, yeah, I need to fucking think about this a minute. So I was like, yeah, I was like, you're probably right. I didn't, not, I hate saying the word dumb it down, but you have to get a basic knowledge of certain criteria and how it's being applied. You might not remember the terminology, but if you can look at the chart and know what it's talking and know how it's talking and saying, then you're going to understand it. And that's the biggest point is people just need to understand what you're trying to get at. And but like I said, it's not hard. People make it complicated. They think they have to have 9 million things on their chart. They start drawing lines, and then the next thing you know, they're like, well, my line broke. Well, yeah, I mean, you go talk to any big hedge fund or any big investment broker. They're not stop hunting. It's not that your line broke. It's your line wasn't fucking important. Like where you drew your line in the sand didn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think people do get over analytical when they comes to their charts and they use too many. Like I use three basic indicators that I understand, and I've been able to watch the market and understand the market just based off of those three basic indicators. And then I have different tools that I'll use when I'm plotting out entries and exits, like the good old Fibonacci retracements. Such a basic thing. A lot of people use them. Once you understand how they work and you know where to put them and how to run them, then you really get to use them for the resource that they are. Because anybody can just grab anywhere on a chart and run a fib retracement and like, hey, look at me, I'm cool. But if you don't understand where the bottom should be and where you should retrace to, and understand the cycles prior and the ups and downs and how you should judge the past top and bottom to where you are now and how to get your ins and outs and where to put those retracements, then you really aren't going to use them as best as you should, and get the resource out of them that's there. But what do you suggest if I was a beginner trader? What should I go on YouTube and watch videos of? And not saying that you should go on YouTube and learn, but I do feel like YouTube these days has a lot of information out there that we can really find good information. Like there's a lot of things that I'll Google, I'll watch 5 different YouTube videos about, and I'll start understanding it to the point that I can then, really dig into it myself and get practical and start applying it. I'm not saying everybody on YouTube is going to have the right information, but like, would you tell people to get into like basic indicators or just like how to read different charts on different time frames? Like, what would you suggest to a beginner?
The first thing, and I'm going to say it, and you're going to think I'm a fucking idiot for saying it. The first thing I would do is go on YouTube, figure out what broker you're going to use, and search for executing a trade on that broker.
And by broker, you mean like,
Like
like,
Bybit, Mexi, BitGet, whichever one you're going to use. Go watch there's always like a 1 hour YouTube video on executing a trade, changing your leverage, you know, taking profit, limit orders versus market orders on that platform, how their stop loss works, things like that. That's the first thing I would do. Because 9 times out of 10, you can save yourself 20% of your losses by learning how to use the broker you're fucking using. Just because you've been, even me, like I opened up a new brokerage account with a forex futures broker last week and deposited money before I even made a fucking trade. I went and watched a 3 hour video on how to execute trades on their platform. Me, I've been trading for fucking 30 years and I still watched a video on how to execute trades on their platform
and
because that's something that you'll figure out. There's different nuances that will fuck you up and it will cost you money.
And there's actually software out there that's you can actually dummy play with. I know I used to have an Ameritrade account, and they have an app called Thinkorswim,
Yep.
and on that app you can actually play with fake money. You can trade with fake money.
Your demo account is generally,
Yeah,
I think, what they call them.
yeah, it's
But
like
yeah,
fake
that
money, but but Thinkorswim is a great UI for mobile, and you can access it online. And like they had great charts. I used to love Ameritrade. It was one of the few brokers that I like to use for traditional stocks. I just found that very easy use, and I like the way the charts looked. Like how I could set them up and stuff like that. But they had, like I said, the app was called Thinkorswim. It was really
mhm.
cool. And I think our buddies over at um, Ash, over Divine Dogs, they have a trading bot that they've created, for DeFi, which is pretty cool. And you only to access it, you only need to hold their Transcendent collection, which I think the floor is like 0.15 Sol, real cheap. It's a cheap entry. You become a holder and you can access it. Next time we have Ash on the show, we'll have him talk a little bit more about his bot that he built, that helps with DeFi trading. You can do like mock trading and stuff like that, for DeFi, and he's really good at DeFi. If you guys are not familiar with DeFi and you want to get into DeFi, next time Ash is on the show, definitely join his project Divine Dogs and hang out in his Discord. His whole community is like such a great DeFi community. And he'll be back on the show soon too, guys. He's taking a little time off, I believe. he needed some in real life downtime, as we all do sometimes. So Ash will be back with us on Thursdays soon, and as we say in crypto, soon, with two zeros, not O's, soon. Um,
We'll
do
see.
you trade DeFi? Are you in the DeFi? Or are you strictly just doing
I'm
like
trying. I'm trying to get into DeFi, but I want to be able to get into DeFi at the level that I want to get into DeFi at. So that's when I was talking about Sharky and shit like that. Um, that's one of my biggest things is if I'm going to deploy assets, I want to make 1.5% a day and I want to deploy a lot. So that's something that I'm always, looking for. And that's one I've been meaning to pick up DeFi. I need to pick up, uh, or Divine Dogs. I need to pick up one because I actually talked with Ash 3 or 4 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks ago. Me and him got on a call and we were talking. And when the same questions I asked you when I was building this out, um, I asked him and a couple other traders, and that's collectively how I went with where I went. Um, that's an important question. If you're learning charts, you need to learn charts based on charts, not based on assets. Too many people do this, and it's one of the biggest reasons they fail.
are you talking about this
Is
question here?
I don't.
Is there a difference for learning charts for crypto
Yeah,
versus stocks? I know in Canada, a lot of banks have free trading accounts, so you can learn for traditional stocks.
if you're learning, you need to learn charts, and that's something that's very easy to learn. But you need to be able to chart on any asset. So this goes back to where I talked about when we were on the last time, and I was talking about don't fall in love with your asset if you're trading it. Be able to be bearish short term, but still have that conviction long term for a bullish outlook over the next 10 years or whatever. You need to be able to chart on any asset. So when you get to the point where, if we go down this road and, this is something people are interested in, and this is something that we start, Web3 starts gravitating towards, which I've always been confused as to why there's not something out there like this in mass. Because if you all figure out, I can trade assets and make a lot more, a lot quicker to reinvest in the NFT projects I want to reinvest in, or invest more in. Like, you won't have to wait 2 weeks to make two fucking soul on an NFT when you can make 10 soul in 15 minutes. I mean, that's what blows my mind. Is I always thought there would be a larger trading community, but that's something you had to be able to do over any asset class. Um, is to be able to chart. I should be able to throw a person that I've been trading with for 3 or 4 months on any chart, on any asset, on any time frame, and they should be able to pick up instantaneously and start trading it. And that's what I do. When I train and when I do this, um, I won't tell people what we're trading. We'll I won't tell them what time frame we're going to trade on. All right, we're going to trade on the 15-minute time frame, and we're going to trade two different assets. I mean, normally, like with me, I'm trading 10, 12, 15 different assets at one time across different asset classes. But, I'll be like, all right, we're going to trade 15-minute, and we're going to trade GBP USD. I'm going to trade Sol USDT, uh, perpetual contracts at 50x leverage. I'm going to be 500x leverage on this. And then we're going to look for options on Tesla stock today. And we start at 9 o'clock that morning. So we're trading three different assets, and we might trade those assets on different time frames. I might be trading the Tesla options on the 1 minute, the GBP USD on the 15 minute and the other one on the fucking 1 hour. And I should be able to put you on any chart on any time frame, and you should be able to immediately have those three charts up and know when you should enter and exit,
Yeah,
and
I
be
think
able to do it at a rate where you're in multiple trades at a time.
yeah, I learned charting from traditional stocks, and I taught myself pretty much just basically like that when I started trading stocks, there was no YouTube. Yeah, there was. I mean, I don't. YouTube was formed in what, like 2004, 2005, maybe.
Yeah,
I,
somewhere around there.
my first stock trades were around that time, and literally my first stock trade. I probably have told Reaper about this, but somebody I used to be a hustler in bowling, believe it or not. I'm a great bowler at one time. I've got some rings for it. I would used to go to like the bowling alleys and I would hustle. I would drink. I was a drinker. I was also a musician, so it was good networking. But I would literally go and bowl and like play for high game pots and just make like 150 $200 in a few games of bowling. Have a good time, drink, and leave. And in that time, I met this old guy named Kenny. I'll never forget this guy because I learned so much from this guy. And again, this is like the same thing with communities in Discord. Like you can learn so much from one person; it could change your life, and it could be somebody you didn't even think you would even like would impact you in that way. So this old guy used to clean the bowling alley, and I used to go in and practice during the day. And during the day, it was a dead bowling alley; nobody was there, so it'd just be him. He'd be like oiling the lanes, and he'd just be like reading his newspaper, drinking his coffee, and I used to chit chat with him. And we started talking stocks one day, and I knew nothing about stocks, never invested in stocks. In 2004, 2003, I had a decently successful music career, and I was in my, I was 24, 23, so I was still pretty young. I had a good amount of expendable income that I could use for things. And he told me about some tech stocks that he was like die hard on. He used to tell me every day about this one stock. So eventually I said, fuck it. And I threw like 5, 10 grand towards in stocks, and he showed me how to do it and how to get a broker and how to do all this stuff, set it all up, invested the money. Legit forgot about it. Forgot
Yeah, I
all
remember
about it,
this.
and had no idea that I didn't even remember that I invested this money because I was a very heavy drinker in my 20s, being a musician. Just I was bad, to the point that I would wake up and drink to feel better every day because I was that bad of a drinker. So here in my 30s, later down the line, and I start getting back into stocks, and I start buying some Apple stocks and Tesla stock, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have an old broker account. And I looked it up. And this stock that I bought for like $4 a share back in 2004 now was around $190 a share.
Gosh,
And I was just like, wait, how much money's in this account?
it's like, hold on, I gotta sell this shit now.
And I did. I
Yeah,
sold it immediately. And I took that money, and then that money is what I've been investing with for the rest of my life so far. Like for the last 15 years, I've been using the same money from that original investment, from the profit that I made by forgetting about the investment, literally just forgetting about it. But it's just funny that, again, you never know what one person could do to your life. And here I was hustling a bowling alley, making a couple $100 every few days, throwing a ball down a wooden lane, knocking some pins down, that I would get some actual really good stock information that made me into become a successful trader later in life. And then I moved into crypto during the COVID crash. I sold all my stocks, just so happened like the January right before COVID crash, because I was eyeing crypto. I was watching Bitcoin go crazy, and I was just like, man, I got to get into crypto. I already was mining ETH at the time, and I was like, I need to invest in the crypto. So I liquidated everything I had in stocks, and I came in the crypto, and like literally I was like, all right, I'm just going to hold off. And I didn't know when to buy. And then the crypto crash, and the COVID crash happened. And I just took all the money I had and I threw it in the crypto, and never looked back. So, but it all started back in 2004 by some old dude I used to just shoot the shit with while he drank his coffee, and I used to practice bowling.
that's crazy. Like
It's
that's one thing I've never been good at is bowling
Yeah, I got
because,
rings and stuff. I bowled like perfect games and 800 series. I used to be like a straight like kingpin hustler.
dude, that was my grandma. My grandma bowled like 8 perfect games, and dude, she didn't weigh 85 pounds and threw
Yeah.
like a 12-pound ball. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? And
It's
She
about consistency, man. It's bowling is consistency, you know,
she
just
told me
muscle
one time,
memory.
she said, if you wouldn't be drunk by the third fucking pin, or the third frame or fourth frame, she's like, you might bowl a little bit better. Because we would go bowling, and I would be like 16, and she would buy me beer at the thing, and she'd be like, and I'm like, well, Granny,
Making those
like,
memories.
yeah, I'm like, if you don't want me to be drunk by the third or fourth frame, like, don't buy me 4 beers before we fucking start. Like, what are you, what are we talking
I
about
used to
here?
be smashed by the third game, like barely could stand up, but I still was able to bowl. It just, it's something that was easy for me. Some things just are easy for other people. If you do it enough, it just becomes a muscle memory. Just like you with trading, it's a muscle memory in a sense because
Yeah.
it's something you've done over and over again. Then I was gonna say, when you look at the analysis of like charts too, maybe you could talk a little bit about candles and like the importance of candles, because I know me, for example, I know when to look at certain candles and how wicks work, and like when I know things are going up and down just based off of a candle. So do you think that's something that people should learn early in their trading? Like how candles work, what to look for in candles, what different candles are called. And if you guys aren't sure what a candle is, I'm referring to the actual green and red bars that you see on the charts. I call them candles. Other people could call them other things. But it all depends on the person.
Yes, I would say you need to start out with a basic. I always tell people to print off the cheat sheet that has all the patterns on there, but
That's
then,
another thing too. Patterns, like chart
yeah,
patterns.
the that's the it's more important to understand candle patterns than it is to actually understand the candles. So I would always tell people, you know what? You have a wall wherever your computer is. Print the fucking thing off. Post it right above your fucking monitor. And that way, when you're trading, all you got to do is fucking look up. All the patterns are right there. If you have bad eyes, blow it up and print 4 of them off. Post all 4 of them on the fucking wall. And that, like, if you're looking and say, oh man, I don't remember if this is a bullish or bearish pattern, boom, right there it is. You don't have to flip out of the screen. You don't have to get over complicated because you're in a trade and you don't know what the fuck's going on. It's right above you. You're good to go. I like dojis. I like tail spins. I like fucking kangaroo tails. Specifically when, and I know that's like a lot of people might not understand that, but
Even I don't know what some of those are, guys. So don't feel
um,
bad.
I like I like them when they're outside of a certain range. So that's where a lot of people get convicted with a certain. They're always going to play fucking X candle structure or X candle type. I'm not like that. I'm going to play X candle structure or X candle type when it falls outside of a certain range. So I'm looking for that structure to fall outside of a certain standard deviation, a certain line across from the VWAP, a certain line. I'm looking for it in certain areas where I know, okay, boom, this is giving me, and I mean it's fucked up, but I can sit here and say, okay, if I'm, getting a doji outside of here and a kangaroo tail outside of here, I'm getting a, 83% chance of a win on this trade because it's falling within X and X. If I'm falling within, you know, Y and Z, it's given me a 90% success rate over the past 20 years. So I'm going to take the trade. That's all trading is. Stop falling in love with the asset and fall in love with the mathematical and statistics, the mathematical equations and the statistics behind the actual structure of the trade. Because if you give me a trade that's hit 90% over the past 20 years, I'm going to take it every fucking time. I don't care if it loses 8 trades in a row. I'm going to take it every fucking time. Because I know over a 12-month period, I'm going to likely hit somewhere around 90%. So I'm going to take the motherfucker every time. If it goes 15 trades losing, guess what? On the 16th trade, I'm going to fucking take the damn trade. And I don't give a damn if it's on crypto, forex, stocks, options, T bills. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm going to take the trade and I'm going to put the cash on the line because I know over the long term, even day trading on the 1 minute chart, when I'm looking at statistical analysis over a 12-month period, I know it's going to hit at X percentage. And I know at the end of the day, it's going to even out. Where I'm really good is I can pinpoint when you look at that statistical, say you have something that hits 86% over a 12-month period. I'm very good at looking at that and going, today's not the day to do that. That's where I'm really good, is saying that it's not, this isn't a good trade for various reasons, whether that's Asian economics or shit going on in Europe or a BRICS meeting coming up, or in the inverse, this is a very good time to do this. This is a very, I think, traditionally we're at 83% on this type of trade. Now I think we're closer to 95% on this type of trade because of the current macroeconomics that are going on in the country, because of CPI in the US, whatever it might be. I'm very good at coming in and giving myself that additional 10 to 15% advantage and saying, all right, I'm not only going to push the trade, I'm going to push the leverage, I'm going to push the money I'm putting in, because I can see this is going to go. I have a higher win rate because of what's going on in the world.
Just gonna touch base. Brad had a good question here. Is there a specific cheat sheet you prefer, or is he safe with most of them? Is there a particular book that you know of cheat sheets? Is there a phrase that you could Google
I
to
will.
bring up that kind of stuff? Is it something you could share in the Discord, or give me the link and I could share it so you don't
What I'll
get timed out by our bots?
Yeah, what I'll do. I was getting ready to say, what I'll do is I'll send you the link to the one that I recommend for beginners. That doesn't overcomplicate everything.
Okay, I'll post it in the
So,
Reaper chat, guys, when he sends it to
yeah,
me.
and that way, you know, there's a lot of them out there. Some of them have 4 to 8 types of chart patterns and candlestick patterns, and some of them have 150. And neither one of those are good for beginners, because you need to have enough that's going to push your knowledge, but not so much that it's going to overload you to the point where you're just like drowning in candles. Like, I always tell people that, understand, when you start day trading, you're going to go to sleep and start seeing candle structures.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
get up in the morning and you're going to look in your cereal bowl and you're going to see candle structures. It I drive that in people's heads so much. Like, you're going to see it everywhere you go. You're going to look at stoplights and see candle structures.
Yeah, I mean, they're red and green, so I mean,
Yeah, it's
especially if you're a little intoxicated, they get a little blurry, they stretch
yeah,
out, you know.
it's very uh
Just remember,
you know,
red means stop, green means go,
yeah,
but not in trading. It's sometimes red means go.
exactly. But that's where, I just sit there and I hammer this shit so much, and people start seeing it in their everyday lives. I had a girl tell me, she's like, I went to the store and I saw a green shirt, a red shirt, and a green shirt, and I thought of a certain candle structure.
Yeah, you're like, I need to
I'm like,
buy. I need to buy
I'm,
whatever you're buying.
yeah, I'm like, boom, you're in now. Like, you're going to start getting it, because she was really struggling. She was really struggling, and I'm like, okay. She told me, she's like, I went to Kohl's and, like, I saw red, green, red, and it made me think I needed to do something. I'm like, okay, we might have a breakthrough next week then, but it's something that you just
And
got to live it and love it. I mean,
before Carlos has a good question here, I'm going to ask you in a second. But before that, I just want to say to you guys too, you don't need to be rich to get into trading. You don't need to be super wealthy. You could do it with expendable cash. And what I mean is, like, if you could learn how to day trade with 50 or $100, you just aren't going to be getting huge returns. You just maybe go in and get one hit. what's my goal today? I've even said this to a Reaper in a private chat. Like, if I was to get into day trading and I went to start learning and say Reaper was going to teach me, I would literally come at it with $100 and I would try to double that $100. And if I did, I'd be good for the day. And then the next day, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come back with that $200. I'm going to try to double it again. I'm not going to try to get too greedy, but I'm going to try to make some money, maybe a few trades. Maybe the first day I go for one good trade where I know I could probably double my money. And it might be a trade I have to wait for. And I mean, Reaper could probably tell you that, like, sometimes he probably does. It takes him a few hours to wait for a particular trade, when you're day trading, because you might be watching charts and like, all right, it's going to get to this point, and when it gets here, this is when I'm going all in. And then that trade could last for maybe a few minutes, and he's done for the day. He might be like, listen, I made my bank today. I don't need to trade anymore, and I'm moving on. Or you could be a degen and just make a few dollars here and there all day long. But you don't need to be rich or super wealthy to get into it, to learn. You just need to have a little bit of expendable income. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Reaper. What do you say on this point?
100%. No question. I always encourage people to trade with real money, unless they're trying to figure out their broker and they're having an issue with execution. Um, but when I tell them, like, if you're going crypto, I always tell them $20, $50, whatever you can afford to lose. That's what you start learning to trade with. Now, if you're going Forex, generally you need at least around like 60, well, somewhere really between, like, I think 45 and 100, depending on what you're trying to trade. And if you're going futures, you generally need about 3 to 500. So it just depends on what asset class you're going with. But if you're going crypto, then yeah, I mean, 20, 30, 40, $50, $100, whatever you can afford to lose. I mean, because you're going to lose it,
And you
and
kind of want to lose money when you start out, because if you start out winning,
oh God.
it's bad. Trust
Oh
me, if you
God.
get into your first few trades and you do amazing, you are going to be ruined. And what I'm getting at here is that you don't understand. Like, you have to lose to learn. Like, you need to lose to learn. Like, that is a life. That's like real life advice involved here. Like, if you win all the time, trust me, you don't grow. you might be you,
Oh
you
God.
might think you're doing well, but if your first ever day trade you hit it and you smash it out of the park and you're like, oh my god, 100x, you're gonna have the wrong mindset for day trading and you're gonna get wrecked.
Yeah, it takes me literally, people that happens to, it takes me like 12 months to get them back on the right track.
you
Like,
want
it's
to
the
you really do
worst
want to
fucking
lose in the
thing.
beginning.
I
That's why
want
I'm
them.
saying you want to start with like a low income, like 20,
Yeah.
$50. Who cares if you lose it? It's like filling up your gas tank. It's like buying a couple Soul and going and buying some JPEGs.
But
And
even those ones that do 20 to, they turn 20 into 100 in 2 days. It's like they think they're the next fucking Warren goddamn Buffett, and I'm like, fucking Christ, here we go. I'm like, it's gonna happen. I guarantee it, and it does. And these
now
fuckers can't figure it out.
I want to roll this talk into what Carlos asked here about what factors do you take when you count into account before you set your leverage? Because do you think someone should start with leverage trading and like adding like leverage? You just think they should just do straight calls, straight like calls, puts, or maybe shorten something? Like, what kind of trades do you think a beginner should get into? Should they even worry about leverage?
I Most people are wanting to degen, so I would say use leverage. However, I would say you need to start out with 10x, 5x, 10x, something like that, and understand how stop losses apply to leverage. Um, how stop losses and leverage have a symbiotic relationship.
And now you, as an advanced trader, answer that same question. What factors do you take into your account before you set your leverage? Like, what are you looking at when you're setting leverage?
I'm always on 100x leverage in crypto. I'm on 500x leverage in Forex. Um, it's the way I live. So it's it's
It's the air I breathe.
yes, like to me though, like okay, for example, last night, just on the forex side of the house, by 11 o'clock this morning from trading last night through the night. Well, yeah, so through the night, I made about 5 or 6 trades, and I was up almost 4,000% by 9 o'clock this morning because it hit right. So I had 40x my account in basically 10 hours, 8 hours.
So the wheels are spinning over here for Jazz as he's thinking about the future of decoders and the kind of if certain utilities that we may add value to our holders and certain um, groups within the coders that do evolve in the future, like whether it be the DAO, the views DAO that we build, and maybe the whales, depending on what the amount of NFTs we set to be a whale in our community. Might not be something too great, you know. It might be something simple like 25. Who knows? It could be 50 to be a whale. Who knows? Because honestly, we've been focused on getting to the mint, and I think once we mint and we see where we're at, we can really start implementing all the fun stuff that's going to begin. I know Vince has a lot of stuff planned. He is that guy is absolutely a mastermind. Like if you have had a pleasure to talk to him one on one, you'll get what I mean because he is legit. Just he's a brilliant person, very intelligent. So with the mint, what I'm seeing is hearing Reaper talk about this kind of stuff and like these little trades that eventually, you know, and I'm not saying that Reaper would give this knowledge for free. That would be up to him. You know, maybe we could even do it a fee wise where everybody pays a certain small fee and has to be in this club and then get some trading advice. Like, what's the call today? You know, what's the call this week? Maybe it's one call a week where it's something he's certain about and he puts the call out. Of course, do your own research, and you know he's not going to be responsible if you lose your shirt, but we might want that information of what that trade is that he's got 400x leverage on that might make 100% in a couple minutes, you know, and maybe we want to just throw $20 at it, you know. Just saying. So the wheels are spinning over here. Jazz has got some ideas brewing about some future utility, and I think Reaper and Vince have already talked about some cool things on the back end. And like that indicator bot you said you've been building, sir. I'm interested to see what that looks like eventually.
Oh yeah, that's something, I figured, and that's the big thing is at the end of the day, we just got to get through the mint.
Yeah, well, the mint's
Get
coming, guys. Get ready because when Vince comes back, the shit is going to take off because we have some shit planned for you guys. It's gonna get exciting. You guys are gonna miss Vince, but you're gonna get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm sick of this motherfucker now because he's on stream again. No,
like this bastard won't leave me alone.
no, we can't get sick of Vince, man. Like I
No.
said, man, dude's straight up legend. But end of day, you know, we're already at an hour and a half. I don't want to take up much of your time. You have a family. It's still early in the night. I'm sure you got to put the kids to bed soon. So kind of move
Half are
towards.
in bed, and you might hear the little one. I don't know.
I do. I got some really nice. I got a really nice headset on, so I don't
Yeah,
miss much noise. I hear a
she
lot of stuff.
she's only 18 months, so
Yeah,
but mama's upstairs, and she's just not. She's going through that phase where she wants it her way, and if she doesn't get it her way, she's going to
scream and cry for it.
scream her fucking blood. She's the one that's got the attitude problem as well. So
This is why you bring it to Discord. I understand. I get
it's like, yeah, if I'm going to take this shit, everybody's going to take this shit. So
it.
I'm like, she's, but no, I have quite a few kids. So yeah, it's a crazy world.
Carlos, you asked when mint, and Ryan said soon, and he is correct. And it's not in a D gods soonish way. It's more in a like soon. So take that for what it is. I will say that the mint date is in the books. It's already. It's not. There's no way to change it now. We're already got it set. Information when Vince comes back mid September. The threads are going to start rolling out. The first thread, I just had the pleasure to proofread the rough draft of it, and you're going to get excited when you read this thread, and the information that it's going to have in it that's provided in this thread. So get excited, guys. You guys that have been here with us this whole year while we've been building this and creating this, and this concept and everything, getting it all into what it is and how we're going to move forward, man. I'm just so enthralled with all you guys being here supporting us. The diehards that come to every show, that watch every show, that claim their views and that are in the Discord, being active, man. Much love to you guys. But I will say, I do have a special announcement for you people that are here. There is one person on the team that none of you have met yet. You've seen me, you've seen Vince, you've seen Ryan, you've seen Vipiphany. I'm not talking about our artist. I'm not sure she'll ever be on stream, but I'm talking about actually the most. I like Vince. All the whole team is stacked. Like I can't say one person's smarter than the other one or more intelligent, but Risha is who I'm talking about. I'm having him on Deep Dive this Wednesday. We're going to put him on stream. It's the first time he'll be on camera with the project. So hopefully you guys tune in for that. Risha is our youngest member of the team. He's in his early 20s. He is one of he's one of my favorite people in this space, and I'm not even like saying that like he literally, I've worked with him in so many projects. I've done a lot of back end stuff with him. Literally one of my favorite people in Web3 that I've met in the last 2 years and that I've worked with, and I enjoy every day I get to work with him. All the stuff we've done on the back end, all the stuff we've built together and worked on together. So super excited to have a chat with him and to expose him to the rest of you guys, so you can see that last member that's been in the background, busting his butt with Vince and the rest of the team, working on stuff that you don't even know he's working on. So it should be a good show. Don't miss that on Wednesday. Reaper, I would like to do this with you more often. Maybe we could do this like twice a month, depending on what Vince's schedule is, and when we could fit it in, what's good for your time. I'd like to do something like that. And if, of
Yep.
course, if the people in the Discord want to see it, we'll just talk about the market. Vince will join us sometimes. The rest of the team members could join. Maybe we'll get people from the crowd. Like if you guys want to come up on our show, some of the holders, in the community, I'm not opposed to it. If you guys want to come on camera, or you could do what Reaper does, just come on as an image and just hang out and talk with us, talk about markets, and just have some fun. Degen. But again, much love to everybody. Reaper, thank you so much for your time.
Oh
Much
yeah, man.
appreciate it. Is there anything you want to say? Anything you got? Closing sentiment about the market? Anything we should be looking forward to? Looking not so forward to?
Yeah.
Should we be like fucking like hemorrhaging and running for the like me? I'm preparing for hurricanes coming because there's one coming on Wednesday, another one coming up the other coast. So even though I'm in Central Florida, still got to prep. You still got to be prepared, just like in real life. Always prepare for the worst. The worst doesn't happen, guys, but always be prepared for it. So
I'm
what do you have to say?
I'm packing my bags and waiting
I
because I
like it.
think I'm going to get another opportunity to unload some capital. And when I do, um, I'm likely going to get into some NFT projects as well. Um, I will probably forewarn everybody in decoders before I do because you will learn very quickly. I haven't gotten into any NFT projects, but when I do, um, you'll likely know it
Yeah, well,
because I'm
Decoders
not.
is going to be your first whale project, sir.
Yeah. So I'm waiting on that. And then after that, I'm targeting things between, I'll put it this way, I'm targeting things before the end of the year. And
Nice.
there's probably about 5 or 6 on my list right now.
Hey, well, maybe
Um,
next time we talk, we'll talk about your list a little bit, and I'll give some advice on my end, what I see with those projects, and we'll get some feedback from the crowd.
Absolutely, because I am brand damn new to NFTs, and
You keep
I
saying
was,
that, but I mean, I met you like almost a year ago in
yeah,
NFTs.
it's you'll learn when I go into a new asset class, I'm very cautious, um, because I do like to deploy some people, and I mean, some people might not even think it's a significant amount of capital, but I look at it as if I'm investing my time in that community, I want to make sure that community is going to be the right place for me. So, that's to me more than anything, it's time,
Yeah.
and not necessarily capital, because time is more important to me than capital. You learn that
Yeah.
with kids. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've learned that in life. Like, very blessed in life, so I've learned that time is more valuable than anything, and just having your time. People think being rich is being retired, but like I'm comfortable and I have my time, and I find that to be more valuable than being a multimillionaire. Like, yeah, I could be a multimillionaire and have my time, but I don't need that. You know what I mean? I just need my time. I think that is the rich. That's the secret in life, guys, is to have your time to do what you want with it, and then to use it wisely to help others, or to, bring positivity and good things to other people, and it just repays itself to you later down the road. So, if I have to say anything to anybody, just be a little more positive in your life, and try to change somebody else's life, because you could be that guy at the bowling alley that changed my life. You never
yep,
know. Because you don't know, because at the time I had no idea that that one guy that I was talking to, I would make an investment that would have essentially changed my life when it came towards my investing side, and to make me comfortable in that sense. I didn't get rich off of it, but I got comfortable from it, and I was able to invest risk free for the till now. I'm still investing off that same kind of money. So, um, but Reaper, man, much love to you, brother. Love talking to
absolutely.
you. We could go on for hours and just
Oh God,
nonstop,
yeah.
but we gotta put a limit to it at some points.
I
We can't have people who farm too many views now. Not until you
uh,
have NFTs. Then we'll let you do it.
I'll tell you, I did the fucked up thing about it is one time I did a 48-hour trading session.
Yeah,
I
no.
traded for 48 hours straight.
Then again, a little alpha. There might be some streams coming up that are going to be really extended prior to mint. So get your computer on non-screensaver will not shut down, so that way if you do have to sleep during these, you can leave it on, just farm them views. But we got some stuff, man. We got really some exciting stuff, man, planned out. Just trust me, the last 2 weeks of September leading into October is going to be amazing, and then October is going to be even more amazing, and then into November we're chilling. Things are going to be good in Dakota's world, and we're going to build this and keep building it. And long term, guys, we're not looking at anything short term here. The only thing short term I'm looking at is that I got another show on Wednesday. It's 3 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. CET time, or 7 p.m. UTC. If I got my time zones right, 3 p.m. Eastern, no, my time. We're doing the show at Risha because he is in CET time. He's 6 hours behind me, so trying to make it easy for him. And that's one of the reasons you haven't seen him on stream. Usually, most of the stream, he's in bed. It's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning for him. So we're making it an early show. So hopefully, some of you guys can make it that are staying up late for these shows. It's a little better for your time frame. So I will see you guys then. Reaper, much love. We'll see you in the Discord. Send me
Yep,
that link so I can post it in the chat tonight for everybody.
will
And
do.
guys, let's carry it over to Discord. You got any questions? Just jump in the chat. We can chat there. And again, thank you guys so much for your time. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.